Businesses today face pressure from every direction. Customers want transparency. Regulators enforce compliance. NGOs highlight hidden risks, and investors demand long-term value. A stakeholder's map is no longer optional. It's the backbone of any serious sustainability strategy. In this video, you'll learn 5 steps to turn a stakeholder's map into a living practice that drives measurable sustainability outcomes. Step 1. Identify your stakeholders. Think of your stakeholders map as a living system, not a static chart. It's a snapshot of the people and groups who can shape your sustainability outcomes, inside the company and far beyond it. Of course, you'll include employees, management, and shareholders. But the real clarity comes when you widen the lens. Regulators who can shift your priorities overnight. NGOs that can amplify a single issue to a global audience. Communities that live next to your facilities. Suppliers who carry social and environmental risks you may not yet see. Customers who are beginning to ask for verified data. And investors who increasingly tie capital to credible ESG performance. Step 2. Understand their interests and values. The moment you plot those names, the real work begins. A map tells you who. Dialogue tells you what matters and why. Some concerns are universal, reducing emissions, protecting human rights. Others cluster by group. Workers focusing on wages and safety. Investors emphasizing climate targets and governance. And some are deeply local, like a community worried about water scarcity or biodiversity near a project site. When you hear these signals, resist the urge to treat them as a communications issue. Treat them as design inputs for your sustainability program. Step 3. Turn mapping into dialogue and decisions. A static map doesn't change outcomes. Dialogue does. When stakeholders speak, their expectations often translate directly into operational choices. Pressure on plastics often becomes a packaging redesign roadmap. Investor expectations around climate drive measurable targets and supplier engagement on energy use. Concerns about labor conditions in global value chains trigger due diligence programs that look beyond first-tier suppliers. These are not abstract ideals. They are decisions that change specifications, supplier requirements, and investment priorities. Step 4. Translate expectations into policies and actions. This is where your stakeholders' map becomes a translation engine. Values and expectations must show up in the documents and processes that govern behavior. A supplier code of conduct with clear social and environmental requirements. Responsible sourcing policies that define what acceptable looks like. Contract clauses that make requirements enforceable. Training for teams who will implement them. And evaluation templates that score real performance rather than vague promises. If stakeholder values aren't embedded in policies, contracts, training, and KPIs, they won't stick. Step 5. Report, audit, and improve. Visibility matters. What you commit to should be measured and disclosed through sustainability reports and recognized standards. The point isn't to add paperwork. It's to show that the voices you heard led to actions, metrics, and results. Auditing closes the loop. External assessments, community feedback, and targeted reviews test whether commitments are working on the ground. When audits surface gaps, like incomplete data or weak remediation practices, they don't invalidate the program. They show you where to improve. This cycle, report, audit, and improve, is what keeps the stakeholders' map alive. Common mistakes to avoid. As you build this capability, avoid 3 traps. First, don't treat the map as a one-off deliverable. New laws, new markets, and new narratives can rearrange your stakeholders in months. Revisit it regularly. Second, don't mistake volume for power. The loudest voice isn't always the most consequential. A regulator or major customer can alter your business with a single requirement. Third, don't leave the map on the wall. If it doesn't reshape policies, specifications, budgets, and KPIs, it remains a diagram, not a strategy. Begin with dialogue. Talk to stakeholders, learn what matters, and turn one insight into a concrete action. That's how a map becomes a practice. If you're interested in more practical content, check the resources I've linked below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.